Hello, my dear listeners, and those of you who are watching this episode. My name is Paula Mugisa. I'm the team lead and founder of TESA Advisory Services. Thank you for tuning in. This episode is proudly sponsored by the gym at Latitude Zero Hotel in Makindye. This is episode 3 of the business tool workshop titled Tusaba Gavumenti Etuyambe. This is an episode about how to take primary responsibility and ownership of your own life, especially where it involves starting a business venture. This episode explores how, as a culture, we have developed the entitled mentality that other people must support our growth, rather than taking the responsibility of creating opportunities for ourselves. As with each episode, I'm going to give you the what, so a story or example, the work, so the exploration I want you to do to discover some answers, and a tool that you can use to record and extract practical activities that you can implement today. Over the past maybe 15 to 20 years, we have slowly but steadily developed a culture of shaming and blaming the government for our inability to progress financially, and as a way of avoiding overall responsibility for the lack of progress in our lives. We hide behind the weaknesses that we see in our government as an excuse for lack of progress. Now, legally and respectfully demanding that the government do their job is both right and justified. However, whether they do or do not implement our proposed changes, I always wonder who loses out the most, especially if we do not proactively initiate opportunities for ourselves. Will it be harder? Yes. Will it be worthwhile to set a precedent amongst other businesses and create a clear roadmap for your project? Most definitely. Being in this startup and innovation ecosystem over the past few years, I've come across a number of people developing innovations that governments in other countries have developed for the public to ease trade of goods and services. Here in Uganda, some bright, forward-thinking people have seen this as an opportunity to partner with the relevant government bodies and use private resources to implement these services as businesses. Because some of these services are required nationally, and this is a win-win for both the government and for the proprietors to have a long-term sustainable business. Did you know that the Ministry of Health in Uganda has set up a committee within the ministry to specifically review business ideas and innovations that potentially have national impact? This is a precedent that many ministries are mirroring as a result of Ugandan innovators who are not waiting for government to create the environments that we wish we had, but rather see an opportunity to fill a gap and take over the operations of a national service privately. I unfortunately cannot go into the specifics, but TESA Advisory has had the opportunity of working with one such small Ugandan business. They have taken a government tool that could have only served its partial impact to its end users and added on an additional tool to create a refined resource that each and every Ugandan will be able to use in about a year or so. This will improve last-mile service delivery for all individuals, businesses, and public institutions across the country. Now that is the kind of forward-thinking opportunity and responsibility that I can get behind. Taking on the responsibility to solve a problem, especially a national one that serves many people, is a strategy I really encourage all of you to adopt. It is not for charity, as many people superficially think without understanding the nuances of this strategy, which is this: by prioritizing others, and in this case, many others, they will naturally prioritize you. It is a natural rule of life that has immeasurable benefits when you can turn the people that you serve well into long-standing customers. At this point, I just want to encourage anyone who is holding back from starting or growing an existing business venture because of fear or lack of support. It might not necessarily be because you're waiting for the government or anyone else to support you, but you really cannot seem to get past the logical reasons and excuses in your own head. Let us explore the work we need to do. Number 1, write down all the major areas where you need support to start or grow your business today. Also write down what is holding you back from starting your business or growing and scaling it further. In the areas where you really need support, how can you provide this support to your own self? For example, if you want to register your business and create basic branding for your business, is it possible that you can exchange your newly identified skills with your low-hanging fruit customers? That is, do the work and use the money to fund the initial stages of your business. I kid you not, this is exactly how I started with Tusaba Advisory Services, without much help from anyone. Even all this is funded by work that I have done to pay for work that I believe in and want to scale across the world one day. So it's very possible in this here, Uganda. I have now started actively looking for funding because my plans have become bigger than I could ever have imagined. But nothing could have stopped me from starting, and nothing will keep me from going ahead. Are we slowly getting the picture? Please go on step by step to come up with all sorts of ideas, resources that you can easily access to support yourself. Now, how about the excuses, the fear? What are the thoughts that are jumping into your head and are holding you back? For this list, I want you to imagine that someone you love and whose skills you believe in wrote this list of excuses or hindrances that are stopping them from starting or growing their business. This person is not you, but someone else who you wish to encourage and support in every way that you can to start and succeed. Now write down the responses you would give them for each and every fear or excuse. You guys, I have only just realized that all of the answers for our next few steps in life and business are within us. It is so funny, but you are walking around with them somewhere in your subconscious. I say subconscious because many of us are not aware that we have inside of us the answers that we seek. We think they're somewhere out there in the wilderness. The only question is, are you willing to simply take time to do the internal exploration, do the work, then write it all down and take action? If not, that is okay. It's not easy and there are so many competing priorities for our time. The most important thing is that you are aware of the outcomes of both what happens when you do or do not do the work. This week's tool is a practical guide on taking responsibility and ownership of the direction of your entrepreneurial pursuits. It is a combined checklist of common excuses and fears for not starting a business and our arguments against them. This wraps up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Go out there and do things differently and be exceptional. God bless you.